evening. I want to welcome everyone to our Monday, October 28th, 2024, 6 p.m. meeting. Going to call the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Madam Secretary.
Kennard. Here. Davis.
Here.
Piles.
Present.
Wester is present. Laster.
Present.
Evans.
Excused.
McCarthy.
Excused.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we stand for the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, under God, indivisible for all.
As a school board, we did recently adopt governance team norms, so I just want to read them. As a board, we agree to keep our focus on the best interests of our students, working with parents, community, and staff, be supportive of board decisions, and work for the good of the district, respect meeting time, start time, return from breaks promptly, and avoid unnecessary interruptions, keep our remarks brief and to the point, work towards the future based on current information, communicate openly, honestly, and professionally, respect each other and our differences, give helpful feedback directly and openly, no surprises, and keep confidential items confidential. Thank you. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the October 28th, 2024 meeting agenda as amended to add the presentation from PFM Financial Advisors.
Support.
It's been motioned by Laster, supported by Davis. Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Piles.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Laster.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Wester. Yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you. We are at public comment.
Ms. Lisa Denny.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few notes. I want to say, go Romulus Flyers, go Romulus Eagles. With that in mind, our boys and girls have worked very hard to get where they're at right now. They're both in the playoffs. All three teams on Romulus Flyers has made the playoffs. And I would think maybe it would be wonderful if some of the teachers and our boards come and support our boys and girls while they're out there. The Romulus Flyers will be playing at Gabriel Richard this Saturday, starting at 11 o'clock. Not sure about the Eagles when they're going to be playing, or I just heard that they could be in the playoffs. Quite a few teachers from the school that I work at has made it to our game. And to see the kids' faces light up when their teacher comes to support them is wonderful. And I think maybe with the millage coming up and the board is having their own election, I think few of them come out and support both teams, or all three teams, or all four teams. Our boys and girls have worked very hard, and I think the city of Romulus and the school board should recognize them in any kind of way. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Denny, real fast, I can speak on behalf of the district. I don't know if nobody tells me.
I know that.
So we need somebody
that's
who
why
would
I'm
be able to
telling.
send an email. If you send me an email, I get it out. Okay, we have council people, the mayor, whenever they ask me for something, they'll send it to me. And know that I blast it out. So that'd be something that I'd like to know. So if you send it to me, I can get that
will send you a
out.
schedule tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Connie Denny.
I just want to say that I did vote. You can see it on my arm. I did vote. And I know that 2 or 3 of the people that are not here, as usual, did not get voted in by me. Thank you.
Ms. Sherry Rush.
Greetings to all. First, I'd like to say thank you to the board for the phenomenal job that you all are doing in our community and for our children, and how much it affects us even at home. So thank you to each of you. We appreciate you. Then I have two other things to say. One, I have a concern about the staff with security. There seems to be a lot of change, and it seemed that the security that we had in place had a relationship with the students. And I just have a concern that we don't have that same bond or connection with the new security system that we have in place. And some parents have a concern with that because the students felt free to go to them with some of the problems. And the students don't have that same feeling. And the last thing I want to say, I know there's a limit and I can talk, is that there's a space program, a phenomenal program that my grandson has been a part of. And it really has affected his life. I mean, he's not in the program right now because he's at the high school. But just the excitement that he came to start school and to be in middle school, that's a difficult task, as we all remember. But once he was in this program, he created bonds with other students, he bonded with the teacher, and our famous question to ask him every day that he comes home is, what did you learn today? And often he didn't tell us what he learned in class. He told us what he learned in the space class, the space program. And he was excited. And he's not a very, enthusiastic type of person. He's kind of low key, but he was very excited. So I just want to plead with the board to consider making this a class. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Rita Hampton.
Thank you. I just want to say, I'm glad that you did that, Mr. Denny, because see, the way it's gonna work is we're gonna still get one or two back, and Lord have mercy, we don't want that. And I'm here to say that, I won't say much. I wanna keep it joyful, because I love the library, and because we're in here, I'm gonna keep it joyful. But what I'm thinking, they come back, I'll be back. Thank you.
Councilwoman Virginia Williams.
No, I didn't put council.
But I have to recognize when you're in the house.
Good evening. Good evening to the board and the superintendent. I'm here on the behalf of two gentlemen, one's a pastor, or both of them is a pastor. Years ago, Romulus School District had a contract with this church, and they operated out of the old Merriman School. And so they're here tonight to speak to you, and I just came to say that the time that they were there, it really benefited those folks on the other side of the city. If anyone is familiar with the geographics of Romulus, it's kind of like we split up. So there's no church at all on that side of the city when it comes to Romulus. And I thought that was a really good program. They had a food program going on, they had a after-school program going on. Those ministers of God is here tonight to speak. And I just wanted to say, I was a part of them when the school district signed that contract with them before. If the school has no other idea of what they're gonna do with that building, you guys should at least consider letting them go in and bring a little Jesus to that side of the city. I mean, with what's happening in the world today, seriously, people are looking, people are depressed, people don't know which way to turn with all the things that's going on in the world today. And the only thing that I know of that will actually help and make a difference is God. So I'm just here not to try to persuade you, but just to give you my knowledge of what happened back when they were in that building, and just to say that I support them to us to have some type of fellowship on that side of the city. In Romulus, not Taylor, not Brownstown, but in Romulus. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Pastor Roberts.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to,
Use the microphone, please.
thank you for allowing me to address you. Appreciate all of you. I was a pastor in this community for some 5 years, and we was in the school. We fed over 100 kids a day. Not only did we feed them during the summer program with the Meet Up, Eat Up program, we also clothed them. We collected school clothes from all around the community. We gave away clothes. We had a workshop where we cut all the kids' hair in that community. We did all the girls' hair for back to school. We collected backpacks. We gave away free backpacks to all of the students in Romulus that came to that shop. We showed them movies, and we was there. We made a positive impact. They fell in love with us. The gym was open every day. It was almost like a daycare for kids. I would stay there till the parents came and picked up their kids. And so I was a very instrumental part of this community until the board decided that another person was interested in the building. And so we signed to release the contract, to let them have the school back, and they haven't done anything with it since. So I was just interested in coming back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the public comments. We are now at the presentation portion. We have a presentation coming up from Mr. Ray Tonchin. My first introduction to him was at the last promotion ceremony for 8th grade. One of the students received an award, and I was intrigued. I didn't know that this program existed. So some people think the board knows everything. We don't, unless we, just get out in the community, ask questions. We're not privy to everything, but I was interested. And from there, I received emails from him. We've communicated back and forth. Since taking on this role, I want to highlight students. I want to highlight what's going on in the district. So I asked him if he would present. I thought it would be a perfect opportunity. We're here at the middle school, and to showcase students and what he's doing. So I present to you Mr. Ray Tonchin Jr. Thank you.
And I have 3 of my students here with me, Logan, Isaiah, and Daniel, who will also be co-presenting this with us. The program is called the RMS Space Challenge, and I like to have a little fun of it. Can we send a bulldog into space? Okay, which way? Here we go.
It's not just Google Earth.
Hey, Google Moons. And Google Mars. We can even Google the universe.
So what is a space challenge? So basically, spanning over, 62 years now, it's the most extensive and intense space goal that's ever been known to man, with just 15 minutes and 22 seconds of suborbital space flight. John F. Kennedy of Rice University made an audacious challenge for the United States.
Soon after William 7 landed, President gave NASA an ambitious new space goal.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the other still.
So again, what is a space challenge? In essence, it is a multi-curricular STEAM program. So what we do, we couple not only math and science, but a lot of other areas, including astrobiology and agri-science, and we launch a whole bunch of rockets. Some of them which you can see over here. We're currently an after-school club that meets a couple times a week. We do experiments in microgravity, design, build, launch, and collect data. Last year, we were supported with grants from the AIAA and Advantage One credit unions, and sometimes we even present our work on weekends.
What is model rocketry? All model rockets have the same dynamics, physical forces acting upon them as the larger rockets do. Aerodynamics, motor performances, physics, design characteristics, sensor of gravity, and sensor of pressure. There are computer applications such as RockSim to predict the performance of a model rocket.
We build and launch and so. We build and launch rocket of the. Two stations and photos and video of the part of the data collected.
Yeah, this interesting photograph, for those who can see it, that little orange blip below it is actually the first stage falling away of a two-stage rocket that we launched.
Tell how we lost the rocket because we put too much power.
Well, yeah. One time last spring, we used too big of an engine, and we saw it sail over into the gun range territory, and I told them, no, I didn't bring my Kevlar in, so I'm not going to get it, so.
Beautiful launch, bad luck, bad rocket loss.
So what came here, we had this, oh, okay, you're gonna do this one, you wanna do that, so.
Yeah, you wanted to do what?
The 2-year Artemis Agri-Science Project. Jacob Bleacher, the Chief Exploration Scientist, Artemis Program at NASA headquarters states, to boldly go, you must boldly grow.
Great quote.
So we're learning about, we did a project where we did composting in the classroom, we worked with MSU, their extension, we had a young lady from UCLA get online, have a Google Meet with her. It's incredible, the different projects that we've been able to do and the support that we got for this. And like here, you see a couple of students weighing the stuff. We weighed all this stuff out. We kept records. We kept pH temperatures, and we did a lot of statistics. So we did 50% potting soil, 50% compost for our experimental ones, and 100% compost for the, or you should check that, 100% potting soil for the control group, and you'll see the differences that happen.
That's our guy, Logan.
And here's when we, just before we, I harvested this, you know, whoever heard of an 83 centimeter head of lettuce?
Beautiful.
You know, that's just off the Richter scale. But all this was, again, gathered and put into a formal report. Here's when we were at the Eco Fair in Romulus last spring, which the same trifold is back over here for you to take a look at. And we were published just now in the National Association of Rocketry online newsletter, copies of which there are some back there. Please help yourself, keep grabbing one.
Because that goal will organize and measure the very best of our energies and skills. It's all about the training in microgravity in the RHA's Neutral Buoyancy Lab.
What I did is I'm also a scuba diver, a master scuba diver trainer. So NASA trains in pools. So we have a pool, we have an instructor, I have astronauts in training. That's what I'm talking about. So what we did is the storyline was we're building a power module for the ISS, and on the end of it, we had all sorts of stuff and whatnot. It really, really looked cool. It was really, there's like a whole 10-minute video about this.
Honestly, it's pretty fun.
So here we have, there's one thing about seeing the movie Hidden Figures. There's another thing, and that's, it's a very powerful movie. But back here, I wrote NASA a few years ago, and I asked them, you know, the report that was with the front page was ripped off, and it said, computers do not author reports in the movie. If you remember that, that's that scene. And I said, does that report actually exist? This is what they sent to me. So that was this was actually the report. I print, and it was in printable form, I printed it out. So it's one thing to hand a kid or have them watch the movie. It's another thing to put some of her work in their hands. They can thumb through it, read through it, whether they understand it or not. It's right there in front of them, you know, it's an artifact. It's very, very powerful.
Because that challenge is the one we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we want to learn.
So this is basically the cover of the astrobiology book. Astrobiology is normally a graduate level type of class. So I just got a lot of information, synthesized it down, and wrote something at their level. And basically they asked 3 questions. Did life exist in space? Can life exist in space? And does it currently live in space?
Not because it's easy, but because it's hard.
One of my mother's school chums. I love this. This is so much fun. When she showed me this back in the day, this was her senior yearbook, and this is a Just Juniors page. So the juniors, the sophomores that year, they all just signed the page because only the seniors have their picture back in 1946. But what looks like a very unremarkable old, you know, yearbook from Montclair High School in Montclair, New Jersey. This is one of my mother's friends she grew up with, played with, rode bikes with. The second man to walk on the moon. So you want to talk about books?
Wow.
Even school yearbooks can be highly motivational.
We are the Mars generation.
Again, thank you for all coming in.
Good job. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Township, and your passion is always on display.
I'm not gonna.
Madam President? Yes. I have a question, but can they come back up?
Then I saved that for
Tell them to come back.
Mr. Township.
Isaiah,
Come back.
we want the students.
What's this?
I just wanna say that this is what we call education, you know, when we say all students that come through Romulus doors deserve a quality education regardless of what their needs are. So these are the types of programs, just one of the many, and we're the board, sometimes don't hear about all the things, and we really appreciate it. It's very courageous of you young men to come and stand before us and deliver what you did. We want to thank you very, very, very much. Some of us don't learn, we learn different. Some of us learn by, you know, the instructional piece, the technology piece, and back in my day, and some of us, majority of us was hands-on. And so this is actually hands-on, and to see that agriculture can come out of this. Okay, when I was looking at that, because my family has a history and background of agriculture and growing things, whatever, so it just brought back memories of what I stand for and where I come from. So I want to thank you very much
for being a part of the Romulus Community School District and initiating a program such as this. And I'm quite sure there's many more out there. And we're looking forward to having all of that come to us at some point. Thank you very much.
I have a question for the students. Was this,
You guys.
Oh, we got more, all right.
yeah, here's the spotlight. Was this an after-school program or during the day?
After school. Yeah.
After school, and was it every day or once a week or?
It was like Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, and how many students total were in this program?
We showed up or like who signed
Regularly, right, like, so, not the people who signed up and never showed up, but what was your basic, the number of students?
3.
We had more than 3. Yeah, we, like, people signed up for like 10 to 6, but then the people showed up regularly were like 6 to a minimum of 2 or 3.
Okay, my last question is there anything that, while you were engaged in this hands-on project-based learning, is there anything that you've gained or learned in this class that helped you with math, with ELA writing, any of that?
Yes, absolutely. Like with the
trigonometry.
Yeah, the trigonometry stuff. We also learned how to like radio system and all that with our launching, the go get system, go get the rockets and all that.
We learned how to like work together as a team so we can like retrieve the rocket.
And was learning trigonometry more fun this way or with a book in a classroom?
It was definitely more fun.
Yeah, and the collaboration component and the working together. Thank you, and thank you for being willing to come after a long day at school and talk to us and be, put on the spot like that. But our student feedback is, we value that so much, so we thank you because this is your educational experience and we want it to be what you're looking for, what benefits you, so thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you. We'll wait till you walk over there.
All right. For third time.
Next, we have a presentation, a healthcare presentation by the great Kevin Brock.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, the great Kevin Brock, if you can have a seat.
I want to join the Rocket Club.
Your greatness is just too much right now.
Okay. We have a presentation by the great Mr. Brody Killian, PFM Financial Advisor, so make it great.
No. Well,
That was too funny.
good evening, board, and Superintendent Dr. Edmondson. It's a pleasure to see you. I do not have a formal presentation other than to be here to just introduce the board to myself and PFM Financial Advisors LLC. So at the board meeting here tonight, there's going to be a resolution in front of you to adopt essentially action steps to move forward with a bond preliminary qualification process. And so in the district administration's role of finding the right partners to work on behalf of the district and your taxpayers, we are very excited about the opportunity to serve as your municipal bond advisor in this process. And for those of you that don't know much about PFM, we are located in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We've been practicing financial advisory work for local governments and school districts since 2004. Our office was founded by a very successful woman in finance named Carrie Blanchett. And we recently, well, not recently, but in 2014, we acquired Stouter Barch and Associates, which grew our practice substantially. And for many years, we have been the #1 municipal advisor to school districts, not only in the state of Michigan, but throughout the United States. K-12 is a passion of ours, and we like to help our clients meet their fiduciary responsibilities and help you to design a bond program that best meets your needs, but is also cognizant of your taxpayers and the payments that they will pay. So our role will be to work alongside Dr. Edmondson, and Kevin and your finance office, we are a fiduciary to the school district. So we have a responsibility to make recommendations that are in your best interest. And there's a number of steps in this process. We'll work alongside your bond counsel, who will be preparing all the legal documents. And there'll be a number of calculations that will occur over the next several weeks to months to get you all ready for that process. And I'm just happy to be here on behalf of PFM. And I'm a local product. I was born and raised in Dearborn. Played basketball in the gym here a long time ago. And it's always a pleasure to be working in the area where I grew up and helping some of those great students and helping you guys improve your facilities. So that's my presentation. Happy to answer any questions you may have. But for now, we're just here to make sure you have a face with the name that's gonna show up in the resolution this evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Killian. Did the board have any questions?
I have questions, Madam President. So my first question is one, I don't know, is this, if we have questions specifically about the bonds, should we do this now or later in the meeting? I'm not, either one is fine, I wanna make sure that I know the space for that. What, cause I don't know if
That's for
if
me,
he'll be
he's here,
moving.
so.
Okay.
My I don't, let me see. After we have an action item with me, so I would want you to have your questions answered
Okay.
at that time.
Okay, cause I just didn't know, are you
Have it ready.
saying?
I will stay,
Thank you,
yes,
okay.
absolutely.
Figured you
Plan
would
to
say
be
that
here, I
first.
will stay here.
Thank
No
you.
problem, happy to be here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And now the great Kevin Brock with his healthcare presentation. Thank you for being so flexible.
Anytime, Madam President. Good evening, Board of Education. I come before you tonight just for really more of an informational awareness. We presented to staff members this afternoon. All the groups of our staff were invited. And at this time in the state of Michigan, insurance rates by far have hit double digits, a double-digit increase. Across the board, Wayne County and my colleagues, and then this is not empirical data, this is just anecdotal data as we share our rates with one another. I don't know anybody that's not under 10% an increase. Our increase, as you'll see here in a second, as a district, we've seen a 17.5% increase that will be effective January 1st. I went to work immediately with our union membership as well as MESA to try to mitigate and offset some of these costs, not only for the district, but we are a hard cap district. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But to offset this so it doesn't translate directly to the employee, because as we know, being a hard cap district, anything over and above the healthcare hard cap, our employees have to pay. So we try to mitigate that as much as we can. So currently, these are our current offerings. We offer Mesa Blue Cross Blue Shield. These are the programs that we offer. I won't go through them all. VSP Vision is offered to some of our groups. I'm sorry, it's got VSP Vision Care. It should be BCSB. We have two different vision groups is what I'm trying to say. And then ADN Dental throughout the district. And then we also offer what's called a PAC B. PAC B is for those folks who don't take our insurance. They do receive vision and dental at the cost of the district because it's above the hard cap. It's not included in the healthcare hard cap. And then there's 150, depending on the group that belongs, that's in the contract, $150 to $200 reimbursement monthly for those people that don't take the insurance. I already talked about this statewide increase. This is not just a statewide. I learned today it's a nationwide problem that healthcare is rising. We're gonna have to address it as a nation. I don't know what that looks like. That's not my job to talk about that. I have my own thoughts on that. But we can no longer, our employees, especially in education, are gonna be at a point where they can no longer afford healthcare. I talked about the rate, 17.5%, which is unheard of. One of the contributing factors, for those of you that don't know, it's called the GLP-1 drug. The GLP-1 drug is your Ozempic, your Mounjaro, the ones that are being used for weight loss, and that's statewide, that's nationwide. If you'll notice that there are commercials out now that some of these medications are good for Alzheimer's. What these drug companies are trying to do is find an alternate route, because currently, as of January 1st, it's my understanding that Blue Cross Blue Shield will no longer cover this medicine for folks that need it for the right reason. I'm not saying weight loss is not the right reason, but typically this drug is administered for weight loss. But that was a direct correlation to our increase here in our district. Currently, we use several different carriers for long-term disability. We use a different carrier for life insurance. It's under the same family, but different carriers. In order to mitigate this increase, what we're going to do moving forward is we're gonna bring everything under one umbrella, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So how are we gonna mitigate this? We're gonna change some of the healthcare plans that we offer. Currently, we offer the most expensive plan, which is a 1,000 plan, $500 for single, $1,000 for family. These are some plans that I worked with the union, that we worked with Mesa. We did a lot of cost comparisons. We did a lot of district comparisons. So changing some of the healthcare plans, getting our long-term disability coverage under the umbrella of Mesa, it currently is not. Also adding our life insurance under Mesa, it currently is not. What does this do for, typically for the employees, is it's going to reduce it by approximately 4%. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about a 17.5% increase, if we can lower that by 4%, it's approximately 4%. In some cases, it can be 5%. That puts us as a district in line with some of our counterparts throughout the state and throughout Wayne County in terms of what our increase looks like. The average savings to the employee, depending on the plan that they pick, could be anywhere from $55 to $210, depending on the plan they pick. The employee has greater access to ancillary additional products. All insurance is relegated to one carrier, it means one invoice, it means one person to communicate with, and it will be all insurance under one contract. We met with groups today. We explained all this. The union leadership was there along with Mesa. Our Mesa representative was there. We had lots of conversation. I will say I was a little disappointed in the turnout. We had 3 sessions we offered today to try to get as many people there as we could. We had a 2:30 session, a 3:15 session, and a 4 o'clock session. And obviously as the sessions went on, they get less and less attendance. Our hope is that moving forward, this will obviously mitigate that increase for our employees. It's not gonna be great, but again, it is gonna be a savings for them, and it's going to be somewhat of a savings for us. I don't have that percentage, but it's going to be a savings for us in a lot of different ways. One, manpower, because currently we're paying several different invoices to several different carriers. And once you bring everything under one plan, it makes everything easier and it offsets the cost across all plans, all carriers. I think the bigger part for me, not only that it saves our employees, but it opens up the opportunity for them to purchase additional coverages. So I'm happy to entertain any questions if there are any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Brock. Did the board have any questions?
Madam President. So this was your first round of informing staff. Are you planning on having any additional, and what is your timeline for implementing?
So this is our first formal time to sit down with them. They've known about this for a while. They've been met with by their union leadership. They've been given information by their union leadership. But as a district, this was our first organizational opportunity for them to get information. November 11th will be open enrollment. So they have between now and November 11th. Tomorrow we'll be sending out our packets of information for everybody. So if they have questions, they're welcome to call or email me. We're not planning another session.
Okay, I was just, inquiring to make sure that they're fully informed, so that, you've had several opportunities along with what you're saying that
You know, the
Can't
great
understand, yeah, because I know open enrollment is open for many organizations, and I just want to make sure that we are.
It is.
That we really, really are tapping into the knowledge base and knowing, for them to know that.
Yeah, and I think the great thing about what happened today was their UNISERV director from the MEA, who is extremely knowledgeable about these insurance products. I'm available, I'm extremely knowledgeable about these insurance products. The union president, who's extremely knowledgeable, she sits on the Mesa Board of Education, or the Mesa Board of Education. There is no Board of Education for Mesa.
Yeah.
The Mesa Healthcare Board, she sits on it, she's extremely knowledgeable. Our staff has access to all of us. Judy Wills, who is payroll and benefits in our department, they have access to her. I think there's a plethora of information, but I don't plan on having another session, simply because I don't know that we have time. But there's tons of access to all kinds, and the Mesa rep has offered he gave out his cell phone number today, and he's gonna email that out as well. He's very responsive.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? I just wanna say, thank you for the hard work, cause I already know what, dealing with the same
I
thing.
saw your rates.
Yeah, our rates went up as well, so.
Our rates are a little better than yours.
Yeah, but we're so for sure, but it does, the rates, I mean, they're gonna affect everyone. You're gonna have those in certain positions that can't afford to get the medical insurance, you know, and it's really sad. But I'm just glad you were able to kind of like put some of our stuff under one umbrella to help kind of reduce some of those outweighing costs, you know, for processing stuff. But thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Mr. Brock, first of all, thank you, for the work that you put into this, to figure out options for our staff. I know that the, insurance costs aren't just going up nationwide in education, but in every industry. So, there's a lot involved to even go out and try and get pricing options. So first, thank you for that time to help our employees. We've got the current healthcare options and then the choices. Are these employee costs or are these, it has their choices, 500 single, 100 or 1,000 family?
Those are deductible costs.
These are deductible.
Yeah, those are deductible costs.
So.
So that top one will no longer be an option. For the
So
500, 1,000 will no longer be an option.
That's no longer an option.
It's too expensive. It's too
Okay.
expensive for the district, it's too expensive for the employee.
So, for a point of reference, like, I don't know, like what employees pay and what segment, so are you able to give us, well, this is what a family's paying, this is what it'll be now, so.
Yeah, it's roughly $100 savings. So if you look at Mesa, if you look at the second plan on that list, don't quote me on this, but a family, I usually go by family because I don't memorize them all. Currently, a family pays about $290 for that plan per pay.
Oh, per pay.
That plan is gonna be about $375 per pay. What we tried to educate our folks on today was some of these plans that have HSA capabilities. So that second plan on that list is offered to our folks. It is not eligible for HSA. But if you can offset the costs with an HSA plan, and many of our employees, and I think this would be a session for me to do more than the healthcare.
Yes.
Don't understand the difference, and this is not a knock on anybody. Don't understand the difference between an FSA, which is a flexible spending account, and an HSA, which is a health savings account. And the big difference, excuse me, for our employees is that HSA, health savings account, goes with you into perpetuity. It's an investment vehicle. And I said that at 2 of the 3 sessions today, and everybody, the light bulbs seemed to go off. So I said to one of the representatives that was there representing Mesa and representing the MEA, I said, that's a session that we probably need to do with folks, because there's a significant savings if you utilize the HSA program. There's a savings in the premium and a savings in your taxes and your tax liability. And I had a conversation with an administrator afterwards, and the concept, and this is, again, not a dig on anybody, but the concept, because I was in that whole rut, the concept of I don't want to do anything different to save $100 a pay because this is what's easy has to go away. And it's not a dig on anybody, but they thought, well, I have to change everything. What's great about Mesa Blue Cross Blue Shield is the healthcare coverage, no matter what plan you pick, stays the same. So you could break your arm in one plan, I break my arm in another plan, coverage is the same. it's all in your deductible and all in, what you elect to do with your HSA.
And that was my next question. It's like, so we see that the deductibles went up, the premiums went up, but the coverage remains constant. So you didn't choose less coverage to save costs.
Correct, and actually, our dental plan is, I think, the deductible is the same, but I think the dental program that we're offering is better than what we have now. And I think it's a little bit less expensive.
And then, another question on the. Oh, would you please explain the hard cap?
Yeah, so what the state, there's two different programs, there's an 80-20, so you can do 80%, 20%, so where the district pays 80% of the premium, the employee pays 20%. And then under Public Act 152, they allow districts to do a hard cap, which means the hard cap is right around $7,700. The hard cap is what the district pays no matter what. So anything over the hard cap, the employee is responsible for paying. So anytime we can save the employee money, as you know, our employees are getting a raise, got a raise this year. If we don't do something, that raise is gonna be eaten up by this increase. So again, not a typical HR response, but my response was we've gotta do something to offset the costs, right? So the hard cap is something we pay. So honestly, if I'm being crass, I could be crass, this doesn't impact the district whatsoever, this increase, because we pay the hard cap of $7,700 no matter what. I could have sat back and said, we're not doing anything. It's not the right thing to do though. It's not the right thing to do by our people, it's not the right thing to do by the board, and it's certainly not the right thing to do as a leader. So the hard cap, we pay the $7,700, anything over that, the employee has to pay. So that's how the hard cap works. 80-20 is different, I don't wanna spend a lot of time on that, but we're not an 80-20 district.
But are we able to pay more than this hard cap to, no? That's
Not
our-
unless we were in 80-20, we fall under the
Okay.
hard cap, and that's
So we
negotiated,
have to do
so,
that.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just asking because, yeah, and first of all, let me thank you for keeping Mesa, because other times it's been brought to the board, not in a while, but to cut costs, let's go with another insurance carrier. This, our staff deserves, I mean, this is wonderful insurance, and it's a reason why a lot of people go into education and leave districts that don't have Mesa. So thank you for that, thank you for the information.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you. All set? Okay.
Madam President, be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the October 28, 2024 consent agenda as presented. Matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the report of the superintendent portion of the agenda. A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Education, 1, October 14, 2024 regular board meeting, and 2, October 14, 2024 closed session meeting.
Support. It's been motioned by Davis, supported by Kennard.
Madam President, if it please the board, I am, and I thank you for these minutes that are detailed, but the closed meeting minutes, because those have to be available if requested, I'm wondering if the paragraph second to the end with details, if the board could vote to strike that simply because it's not necessary. I mean, the minutes without that talk about what we did and the reasons, but just so those details aren't necessary in closed session minutes, we're advised to make them as, brief but accurate as possible. And I just saw that here, so.
You talking about here?
Yes.
I guess my thing would be, I hear what you're saying, but just somebody could say, oh, I heard it as this figure, or.
The secretary.
I mean, it is confidential, but.
That's fine, I just, yeah.
No, and I appreciate your point of bringing it up just for
future notes, but I do agree with
Okay.
just for having what it was and what was said to just leave it as is. if that's- Okay. Alright, so it was a motion by Davis, supported by Kennard? Yes. Okay. Yes. Davis,
Yes.
Kennard, yes. Piles,
Yes.
Laster, yes. Lester, yes, motion passes. Thank you for it. Can I have all the confidential ones? Thank you. We are now at the report of the superintendent by the great Dr. Benjamin Edmondson.
Thank you. I appreciate
Great
it.
today.
You can tell when I'm up and you can tell when I'm flat, so I'll let you decide right now which one that is. Just for a second, I was gonna ask Mr. Dennison to put up 10 minutes so I can limit my airtime, but I think generally speaking to the board, the things that I say are important. And I'm sorry, sometimes I run over to 15 minutes or so, maybe sometimes longer, but I feel like you need to get the information, and I always try to give you the information, always. So I was gonna put 10 minutes, I'm like, nah, I'm good, just gonna keep going where I am. First of all, I had said this before, it's a little plug, just because Margot Lee, the writer of Hidden Figures, and I know her, we went to the University of Virginia together. We came out, we graduated in 1991 together, we came in '87, dated a good friend of mine. But I know her, we didn't know any of that. None of us knew any of that, but just kind of interesting, she still lives in Charlottesville. I've never asked her to come and speak because I know the price is gonna be outrageous, but it might be something that I could certainly consider. But that was the standard when you went to University of Virginia. At that point, they put in a lot of us that you are going to be successful. That was the standard, and I believe that's like some of the universities here without saying specifically who, but I will say that is the standard. You expect that when you go to these universities. Just wanted to say that. Just a couple of things. Adam, there's a picture that I just want everybody to see it. I mean, it might shock some people, but it's right there, and I want everybody to see that. Okay. Listen here, this weekend I went to the Michigan Association of School Board Conference. It's the first time that I have gone there. And I can't tell you what that did for me. And I would say the relationship with this board. I've never asked to go with them. I don't even know if they knew I was gonna go, but I decided to go. And I will be quite frank with everybody, just so that you know. My smile is genuine. Look at that $1 million smile right there. I'm just saying, look at that smile. Totally kidding. I like that I can get up here and just be authentic with everyone, but something happened on Friday, and I have no problem saying it because I'm just authentic. I had a chance, I was with Debbie Piles by chance, and we haven't gotten along previously. I mean, it's just for whatever reason, but yet, whenever we're in public, we look like we get along. We do, generally speaking. I don't dislike her. I've moved on from any of that stuff, and I shared that with the board. I've moved on, I have. I need this board to know and this community to know. I get paid well, I have a wonderful contract, my life is going well, I have a house, I have a contract, I feel really good. I don't have anything really negative to say. Whoever wins, I'm gonna congratulate whoever wins, and I wish everybody. I know that we have 4 of them in here, four for 3, that's what I got, 3 for 4, 4 for 3, no, it's 3 positions for me. Best of luck, I'm going to embrace whoever wins. I don't want any more of what I had in the last year and a half, 3, 4 years. I'm over that. I need to move on. I'm over that. My health is good. Like, there's a lot of great things for me. I'm not going back. I'm not. So that day was Saturday. I had the best time, but I'm gonna go back to Friday. Debbie Piles and I were pretty honest. I mean, there were people there in our session, and we were honest with one another in front of people that we didn't hit it on, that we don't, that we tried, but we just haven't been able to get it done. It's genuine, and it was genuine, and people recognized that. And I said to Debbie, I sent a text on Saturday, and I said the best part of my Friday was meeting with you one-on-one. And that's what I encourage this board to do, that we have to do that, and you have to do that with me whether you like me or not. This is about this community. It's not about how I feel about you or you feel about me. It's about us being linked to move this district forward. In a conversation, I will say this with all board members, you don't have to agree with me. Yeah, that's on you. That is on you. What you're gonna get from me is passion, you're gonna get transparency. You may not like how it comes out. I try to work on that. If I could do better, I would do better. I try to work on not being so, what was the word I used at that table? I said, no filter. That's what I said. You know, unfiltered. Okay? That's who I am. I think some people love it, other people cringe. Just have to embrace it. I embrace who I am. So I'm trying to move this district forward. I'm trying to work with this school board. I'm trying to move this school district forward as a team. And that was really important to me, what happened Friday, and I share that. And I share that with all humility to everybody. I move on, let's move on, period. Best of luck to everybody helping us move this forward in all of your campaigns. Best of luck. I'm gonna be here, and I plan to be here for, I said 6 years. I'm ready to go. At 6 years, I'm ready to go. It's just that simple. So I'm gonna try to get as much work done as I can with the team that I am fortunate enough to work with, or with whom I am fortunate enough to work. Never end a sentence with a preposition. Yeah, that's right. So I want to say to the board, thank you. We really had a good time. You see it there. We really had a good time, and I thought that was the best thing that we could have done together. I'm sorry that 2 board members couldn't make it, but you know what? Frankly, those 2 board members have a wonderful relationship with. I think it was the ones that we have struggled. I think we moved on. We're not going to be perfect. I hope that our future board meetings, that we're able to be lockstep. I hope that we're able to meet monthly or every other week, some of us individually. You know, relationships are destroyed because of communication. I don't care if it's a marriage, I don't care if it's a friendship, it gets destroyed because of an inability to communicate. So I will continue to try to communicate. I'll try not to have issues in public with you. I mean, I've talked to some of you all and I appreciated that. I haven't always said good things about you because I don't feel like I need to all the time. I'm authentic. It is what it is. And we all have to own it. It can't be Ben Edmondson owning all this the relationship that we have. You have to own it too. It's not just me. So I'm just sitting here and I want the community to know, more so than the folks here, I'm gonna still try. I'm gonna still try with this board. So I just want you to give me that support, and wherever the chips may fall, it's the board that I have. Okay, you don't always get to choose who's gonna be your board, but the board that I have from today and moving forward, the new one, we're gonna move this district forward together. So I just wanna say that publicly to everybody, that that's where we're going with me here. So thank you. Just a couple of things too. I wanna say thank you, great synergy, but I wanna thank Krista Saylor. I don't know if she's still here, I don't think she might still be here, but she really worked hard on that ribbon cutting, putting that together. I thank you, I thank the board, I thank the kids, I thank the staff for that. You know, as I said when I stood up, it's amazing in any community or anywhere that we had such a good moment there. We don't see anybody tweeting it out, saying all the good stuff that's happening. Let one thing bad happen in this district. Everybody wants to chime in how ghetto we are, or how this or how that. What about these moments? I can keep putting them out as much as I can until the community starts accepting that our district is absolutely moving forward, and we have moved forward. We're gonna continue to have nonsense like that. You have to, I'm not saying disregard some of that nonsense, but it's amazing how many people will share the negative, but all the positive we have, that picture there won't be shared. Not gonna be shared, not gonna be shared. When that was a great moment for our board to move forward. But I encourage everybody to live in a positive. Got enough negative, I cut the TV on every day, and I see the same doggone commercials until November 6th. They'll stop on November 5th. But let's focus for our district on the positive. Now, again, that doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything that I'm doing. I also want to thank Dr. Gardner and Ms. Holly Smith too for the wonderful presentation, and Adam helping set that up, the custodians, the maintenance people. We all worked hard to put that thing together, so I just want to thank you for doing that. And to our leader there, the Director of Operations, for making sure that we were ready when you said we were going to be ready. So thank you there too. So sometimes people get up here with, they have, what do you call that, public comment. You know, some people are speaking. They have the right to speak. You can't shut them down. They can talk about me, they can talk about you. You can't shut them down. You gotta be careful when you try to shut people down, because they do have the right. Your freedom of speech does not stop at the doors. They don't stop at a board meeting. But I just wanna make some things clear, just for the board and the community, that there are some things, I had a meeting with Kevin Brock and a community member today. And we had a conversation about some things. That's not that particular, that particular community's persons, they wouldn't know. But we operate, we have unions and we have contracts. There's certain things we just can't do. I mean, as much as you wanna do them, you can't do them because there's a union contract and we respect the union and we respect the contract. So there might be a program that comes along, you're like, oh, we love that, get behind. You can't. There's collective negotiations. That's why that works. Last I checked, this is a union state. Understand that. This is a union state. So some of the things that you might want to see or that we can't see, you can start talking about them in negotiations. Yes, we can have that conversation. Okay. At MASB, they talked about, I was at the last session, I did go, the general session, goodbye. MASB is championing the hard cap. That's an issue across the state. Don't blame the school district. We're doing everything that we can possibly do. And I said to Mr. Brock today, I said, I'm disappointed in the lack of people that were here today. We'll give them another chance, but don't dog your school district. We're doing everything that we're supposed to do. State law, this is what we've decided, that we're going to be a hard cap. That's what we're gonna be. So don't complain. Don't say, oh, they're throwing 17% on us. Instead, you should thank this man for the 4% to get us down to 13%. That's what we should be, but most of the people are not gonna know that. So they'll put it out there that the Board of Education and the superintendent have washed out our raise. That is not the case, okay? And he should, all the districts in this county. And I wanna say this to everybody, because you already know it. America has a health plan crisis, or a health crisis, a health care crisis, okay? We're no different. The United States has to figure it out. Romulus Community Schools can't figure it out. It's not, we can't. It's way bigger than that that's going to happen. So please, I need everybody to stay focused and stay positive. Thankfully, everybody did get a raise. That's the good thing, because if you didn't, you'd really be crying. You got a raise. So let's focus on the positive, and we have a great HR director who's moving us forward. I appreciate his leadership, thank you. Okay, but I need the message and from the school board that, listen, this is a crisis, not only in the state, it's in the country. We just have to be part of it. So I just want everybody to know that that's the case. To our pastor, who spoke on Merriman. Merriman is under contract right now. The board knows that we have a contract. We should be finished within 45, I would hope 30 days at this point. I don't know the exact date, but I believe it's 30 days. A medical device company has purchased it. We should be able to close that out in a month. So that's no longer an option. But the law says if you want to use a building, there's a facilities use. You have to go through our director of operations. If we don't deal with necessarily the church and state, the state can't, the church can rent out a building. Absolutely, you rent out a building. Okay, we can't say no. Generally speaking, we can't say no, but there's a process to that. So if you still want to be engaged, and welcome back to the community, you still want to be engaged, you go through our director of operations, or you can find it online, where to find that information to use our facilities. So you're always welcome. There's just a process to it. Okay, so just want to share that because that was asked. 2, 3 more things. All that's good. I just want to say that I sat in a meeting, I believe Trustee Piles was with me. I think both of us were in a session. And it was on chronic absenteeism that we all experience, okay? 10% of your kids, not 10%, kids are missing 10% of the school year, okay? Here included. But when I was watching that, and it was by Kalamazoo Public Schools, I'm like, we are way ahead of them. Even though people are like, oh, they're doing so are we. We're doing an outstanding job, I can tell you that. But I don't know if everybody could say that. Because people say, oh, I don't know, I didn't get that information. Just for me, I try to give this community every bit of information I can give you. Whether you choose to read it, that's on you. But I give you every piece that I can possibly give. If you don't get it that way, you get it here. But we are doing an excellent job combating that. I sent out an email today. You don't get that kind of improvement in our classrooms without that. Okay, we have improved. I sent it out to the entire district and the community. I keep putting things out to show the great things that are happening in this district. We could have been presenting the same thing at Kalamazoo, but we're ahead of them, whether they know it or not. Hey, I appreciate the work that they're doing, but we are ahead of them. There are a lot of great things happening in this district. We're just not all knowledgeable. We all don't read this stuff either. That's sent out. But I just need you to know we have a chronic problem. We have a chronic absence problem here. We're making great strides, and our teachers and our whole staff, as I put out today, are doing great things despite that, or in spite of it. So just want you to know that, finishing up here. You already got the school board and the staff and the community, got the academic improvements that we have. We've had some gains academically, wonderful. We're headed in the right direction. Don't let anybody tell you we're not. We are absolutely headed in a direction, a great direction. We're not a ghetto school. I hear that sometimes from kids. We're not. I can tell you I'm not at all. So where's that coming from? Okay. When I see all the great things that we're doing for this school district and moving, where's that coming from? It's not the facilities. Okay. Some of the mindset that I've dealt with last week was unreal, and some of the things that I saw from parents, and we have some work to do as a staff. We've got to train our parents. We've got to expect more as a board. We have to expect more from parents when things that are posted that are here to destroy our school district. I'm gonna wipe that stuff out. You're not gonna see that. We're gonna focus on the positive. So let's just remember that we've come a long way. We expected to lose 100 students this year. We budgeted for $100 million loss. We lost 25. Okay, if we were to go back chronologically and see how many we lost, you already know that we've been bleeding students. It stopped. It's stopping. So still a little bit nervous about that just in general because you already know. Okay, we're funded by, it's partly because of our student enrollment. Last thing before the last thing, because I'm gonna show a video for 5 minutes, but the last thing is that, you know, I'm coming in front of you regarding a bond. Okay, you see that there's an action item. We've been talking about this for a while. I mean, there shouldn't be too much at this point. We've given information to the board. But a couple things that I want, that I've written down. Number one, the process is set, okay? The process is set, okay? There's a community, there'll be community outreach. We'll have timelines, we'll have committees to participate. We had a study by our facility, by an architect firm that we've shared with the board. Take a look at that. But this is momentum. I need everybody to remember, a bond is a loan. That's what it is. We're asking for a loan. The sinking fund is pay as you go. Every year, we get that $3 million. We can use it for what we said we're gonna use it for. This is a loan. It's about 25 years. We're paying off the one from 1999 now. Some of them are gonna fall off, which is great, okay? In a lot of respects, that just means you paid off your loans. That's all we're gonna ask for the community is to come out for a loan, okay? All we're asking for is a loan, and we're gonna pay it back to get parking lots, okay? To get consistent furniture, consistent HVAC over time. As a community member, I need you to think about what do you want your school district to look like in 5 to 10 years? I don't live here, but I always say that. I act like I do. You see me here a whole lot. So I'm gonna treat you the same way I treat Belleville schools. I live in Canton, school district is Belleville. Anything they send me, I'm supporting. Because I don't want my district to go down. I don't want that district to go down. I don't want my property value to go down, or worse, to lose my school district. Then my property means nothing. You have to be able to support your schools. It just doesn't happen from the money that the state gives you, because that's already accounted for, all of that. So I'd like to get that for the board. I hope that we have your support. But the second thing that I was gonna say is we must be united. I cannot be out in this community and have board members chiming against me and say, oh, that's a bad idea. I don't wanna, that does not work. It will not work. I cannot go out there and have 1 or 2 board members sabotage. And I'm not saying that that's going on because we're gonna vote. But we have to be united. And when I say I don't live here, I mean that. You do. It's your choice if you support what we're doing. It's your choice if you want me to be the person that's out there doing that for you. Okay? I'm a great salesman, I think. That's what people say. We'll see, I guess. But I'm here to support you and your community that you live in and your property value and everything else that I do for this community. I do it for you all. If you don't like what I'm doing, then you can vote against it, and then we'll see how we're gonna fund these schools moving forward. In the next 3 to 5 years, what's it gonna look like? 5 to 10? I don't know. So I just want to share that with you, that we need to be united. If you vote against it, you can vote against it, but you can't be out in the community salting me up. It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. So we need to figure that out if we get to that point, but I think you understand the importance of doing a bond. I would invite you to be a part of the committee, because we're gonna have ideas on how to move this district forward in the process. So I'd like you to be a part of the process. Last thing, could you pull that up? Did you pull up the video? I just wanted to share this with you. Not that, but where that comes. That's fun. This is a brief video about what's happening in Romulus and why Romulus Community Schools is moving toward this. That's not it, that's not what it is.
Crazy what you can get with those
No,
things.
Mr. Skip, look at that.
This is AutoZone's worst nightmare.
Yeah,
The new
you-
gadget is flying off the shelves, but AutoZone is making zero profit. This
That's
new
not it.
$60 nanotech cloth uses cutting-edge nanotechnology
like a movie
and has the
mouse.
restorative power of a high-precision laser tool that can be used on your car. And its unprecedented success is
Romulus is a transportation location. We are planes, trains, and automobiles. We are 20 minutes from Ann Arbor, 20 minutes from Detroit, 2 major railways, and also Detroit Metropolitan Airport, one of the biggest airports in the country. We're a good mix of rural, country living, as well as heavy industrial and advanced manufacturing. Why not lead the way in drones?
So here it is.
Airspace Link has been incredible to partner with in the city of Romulus. Kevin Cross, our Director of Economic Development, brought this to me. I was blown away by how far they were ahead of the competition and how we can use this as a benefit in our community.
Being that mecca of transportation, we have the international airport hosted in the middle of our city and takes up 9 square miles of our city. All of those opportunities for supply chain and development of emerging technology for delivery of that logistics hub is really what makes Romulus unique and gives us the strategic advantage over other locations.
Since the city of Romulus is in such complex airspace, they had 0 flight height for the entire city. And they wanted to open it up, one, for themselves, for public safety, but number 2 is for the residents.
When you look at Romulus and you start to understand it from a mobility perspective, the missing piece was low altitude airspace. But if you're an advanced manufacturer, could you think about maybe moving my high value cargo to its next destination via drone? It's been great working with the FAA and the city and the state of Michigan to understand that, yes, we can do it. We can open up the airspace next to the 18th busiest airport in North America and utilize that new mobility.
We took the holistic approach of drone implementation in the city of Romulus. We didn't want to do it just siloed into one specific department or another. We're seeing in a lot of other cities. We have our first cohort together. They're learning about the airspace, they're learning how to authorize flight within the airspace, and they're all going through the training together.
I believe that drones would assist us greatly with saving lives. If we're able to get a drone up in the sky and get eyes on the situation at hand, it could also potentially save an officer's life, potentially save another civilian. I am using the AirHub Portal app. It's very user-friendly. I've had no issues receiving confirmation of allowing me to fly to other parts of the city.
Timing for us is everything, and I feel like the drone will give us even faster information. And being able to deploy a drone ahead of us, we'll be able to see what's going on before we even get there, and that's something that's invaluable.
So the partnership with Airspace Link, the implementation of that first service model and opening up the airspace, whether it's for 107 license or a recreational user, they can go to our website to the city of Romulus and get authorization to fly. And the last part for us moving forward was making sure that we had antennas in place and we were able to track real-time drone flights within the city, authorized or unauthorized. And we were able to take that data and we're gonna be able to use that to leverage it for economic growth and future projects within the city of Romulus.
We met with the city of Romulus about 8 months ago. Since then, they've gone from being not drone ready to level 3 where they have drone training, they have multiple drones in multiple departments. They put in sensors to understand where drones are flying within their community. About 20,000 residents can now fly a drone recreationally. And Part 107 pilots can now fly without having to do further coaching, really making it much easier to fly within that community, all within 8 months.
From a community integration perspective, residents can log into Airspace Link through the Romulus platform and really understand how and why drones are flying in the community. And I think using that authoritative data so residents can understand this use case will help innovation move faster here in the city of Romulus, create more jobs and drive more capital investment.
The one thing I'd like to have other people in my position think about with Airspace Link is how to be a leader in technology. And it gives me a greater level of comfort to know we're partnering with a company like Airspace Link to help us through this process as we learn this process.
Thank you, Adam. This is not a message for Airspace Link. I'm not trying to push their product or the mayor. What I am trying to push is that we're going to be a leader in this community. That you can fly drones 2 places Romulus High School and Romulus Middle School. They gave us the airspace because they want us to be part of the cutting edge with this company. I don't know if it's specifically with this company, but they want to work with us to have a drone program in our schools. So we've talked to our director of CTE, I don't know if that's it, maybe it's not, coordinator of CTE about this, like kind of shifting our direction, because I know that this is here now. And the mayor is pushing me, and then I was stopped at MASB by Wayne Reesa that said, hey, you guys are doing some things there. Yes, we are. So I just want you to know that we're moving in that direction. I'm gonna be coming in front of you about these opportunities for our students. I wanna be that school district. I said, I wanna be a destination school district. I didn't say that cutting edge programs is one of them, but I'll throw that in there. If we start getting some cutting edge programs like this, we're gonna move ahead. We gotta leave the things behind that so many of us grew up with. People aren't doing that anymore. Gotta understand it. People aren't doing that. Kids aren't interested in doing that anymore. We need to be cutting edge. I want you to know that these things are coming. I will bring you along the entire way. Okay, I will bring the board along the entire way. As we continue to develop and I come to you about some of these things, I just want you to be open-minded, shoot any questions that you can. I can't answer them all. I just know this is the direction that we're coming in. And lastly, for some clarification, back to the bond, that's a loan, it's a renewal. So we're not asking for anything more, people are already paying it. Actually, it'll be dropped off from what it is right now. So those of you that own a home, your taxes, some of your taxes are gonna drop off at the end of the month, at the end of the year. And then we're gonna come next year for a special millage in May, coming to you, asking you kind of like, can you cap it there? Like right where it is now, can we cap this here so that we can get these things done? So I wanna thank the board, thank you again. And I say this to you again, I had a wonderful time. Okay, that was good for me. That's maybe something I needed, I don't know. But I really had a good time. I'm looking forward to continuing to grow our district. And to you, President, I said it to you before. Without a doubt, your leadership has helped us. So thank you, and your leadership has helped me as well. So that's it, that's my report. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you, Mr.
It's my job.
An action item, the class of 2025 Cedar Point field trip. Can somebody read the motion?
Madam President and Board, the recommended motion move that the Board of Education approves the Romulus High School class of 2025 field trip to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio on May 8th, 2025. The rationale is community building. The budget implications is the students will cover the $80 cost. And in our board packet, we have exhibits to the field trip request form.
Support.
It's been motioned by Kennard, supported by Powell. Any discussion? Roll call.
Kennard,
Yes.
Pyle,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Wester, yes, motion is approved.
Thank you.
To the next action item, just a reminder, I believe I've given you all the information that you needed. In an email of some sort, you got the audit. I was asked by a trustee or a board member, could I get that to you? I got the numbers to you before the presentation, so you have that in front of you just in case you wanna know how we're doing. I'm very excited that we're close to 10% on our fund equity, which is an improvement for sure. And that, in terms of having our fiduciary responsibility, that we are doing those things. So I have that in front of you. Was there anything else that was asked regarding this that I may have forgotten? Okay, just wanna make sure you got over those things. Thank you.
Madam President, recommended motion for the authorization of the preliminary qualification process for our bond. A regular meeting at the Board of Education of Romulus Community Schools, Wayne County, Michigan was held on today, which is October 28th. The meeting was called to order. So we're not gonna fill in the blanks until we read it. So we just have a motion to approve the bond authorization. Rationale is district facilities and program updates, budget implications, not at this point, and the exhibits is the resolution.
Support.
It's been motioned by Wester, supported by Davis. Any additional discussion? Roll call.
Wester, yes. Davis.
I'm sorry, yeah, can we, this where I can ask my questions?
Oh, totally forgot, yes. Mr. Killian, if you'd like to come up as well. Mr. Perkins, come on up, part of this. Roxino. come on up. I'd like just my whole team because they might ask you questions, so that's Dr. Gardner as well, just in case. I'm here too. Any questions that they may have. We don't know all the answers yet because it's still very early, but we have to move in the process. So go ahead. Trustee Piles.
And Dr. Edmondson, thank you for when, I expressed my concerns about it's hard to move forward, not having numbers that we needed from the audit. Thank you for making sure that went out the next day. So that, really, that is appreciated because time was short, so thank you. Okay, so I don't understand, oh, wow. I don't have a lot of understanding of this, so my questions are to get a better understanding. So when looking through, and Brody, did you get our audit?
Yes.
So you have looked at it?
I have.
Okay, so on page 34, it showed that our current debt outstanding is approximately 34.5 million to be paid over the next 5 years. So I'm just wondering, and I know I had asked you this when I saw you, do you know what Romulus is able to borrow in addition to what we already owe?
Yes, so we have run some very preliminary numbers. You have done a really good job in the past with refinancing bonds when you had the opportunity. And so the administration and board has set yourselves up quite nicely for the ability to, as Dr. Edmondson had mentioned earlier, to do what we call an extension of the existing debt so that it's not an increase to the taxpayers, but rather you would be extending it and you would have significant capacity to meet some preliminary needs. I'm still in the process of reviewing that with your administration. I understand we're gonna be meeting here very soon to go over some of the priorities that are on that list. But fundamentally, what I would say is that there will be a substantial amount of bond proceeds that could be raised without increasing the taxes to your taxpayers.
Right, and so I'm just wondering, is that capped on how much we can go out for? If we have 34.5 million now to be paid over 5 years.
The way that we calculate that, if you think of it from the standpoint of the revenue that comes in to pay the debt service on any loan, is really that constraint, right? So in the case of the school district and what they're looking at, the constraint is going to be the existing millage rate and how much revenue that generates. So the existing millage rate right now is 8.25 mils. So if you were to keep that millage rate at 8.25, it's gonna generate a certain amount of revenue on an annual basis based upon certain assumptions that have to be built in. When you go through the state of Michigan's school bond loan fund process, which is this process that we'll be going through, there are parameters that they set by which we cannot just make up our own numbers based on, we expect taxable values to go up by a certain amount. Now, a combination of the good actions that you've made to this point in refinancing debt when you could and having very strong taxable value growth in the last 5 to 10 years is setting yourselves up so that by keeping the millage rate at 8.25, if that's the decision of the administration and ultimately the will of the board to put onto the ballot in May of 25, it will generate a substantial amount of money. The numbers, I don't want to get into necessarily that statistic at this point without talking to the administration further, but your revenue stream based upon the current rate, your revenue stream that would be generated based on your current millage rate would allow you to probably meet all the needs that you have.
So, and all of the needs that we have, Jason, what was that approximate total? And this is not set in stone, I'm just trying to get I have no idea, so.
Yeah, I can tell you it was $11 million in parking lots alone, so we haven't even talked about busing. So there's a lot of projects we haven't talked about. Technology wasn't included in the needs assessment. I want to say the needs assessment, yeah, I don't remember the exact number, but it's a big number. It's like 100 million,
Yeah.
around 100 million.
So it is possible, not, a given, that we could meet all of our needs identified in that with a successful passing of bond.
That's the
Even
plan.
with it, okay. So, so I was looking at the tax levy that we voted on and that was levied in July. So, I just want to understand this. So we have we can levy up to 18 mills, until that's the non-home operating. And that expires, that was a 10-year, and it expires in May of 3031. We can levy up to 18, that was reduced by Headley, to 17.4561, and we've requested to levy the 16.4675. And then, of course, we have the 2.5, which we're levying 1.53, and the operating for all. Our debt service is 8.25, as you stated, and it varies. And then sinking fund is going to drop off in 2028, and that's 3 mills. So, my question is will we, in that list that we got, the priorities will be set. Can we, how will we determine what we're gonna use the new bond money for versus sinking fund? How will we prioritize, and then how will it be determined whether to use bond money or existing sinking fund money?
So I don't want to speak for anybody here, but how we did it in my last district was through committees. So through the input of gathering that input through community members, principals, building leaders, and identifying those needs, staff, students, all the stakeholders basically, identifying those needs, prioritizing them through a committee, through a team, nobody individually, and deciding how that money can best be spent.
And then will it be, so the committee can prioritize, but as far as, will there be a financial team to decide whether it's sinking fund or bond to maximize, spreading that money, or will just stakeholders be deciding what fund?
I can help with that. So, I think what you're gonna see here is a convergence of what's needed and the input that the stakeholders will put into as far as their efforts to help the district administration identify the need, and then the budget. So you've got the need converging with the budget and what you can afford. And so part of the role of the financial advisor is to help advise the district as to what is the most optimal way of financing these projects. Bond counsel will also have a role in this, and that they will help to determine which of these projects are eligible to be financed with sinking fund monies or with the voter-backed bond monies. So all of that comes together in this process, but as the district moves forward in the next few steps leading up to the meeting with Treasury, there will be some of those discussions going on as well, as how do we identify, which buckets of money will fund which projects.
And what does 1 mil cost the average taxpayer per year?
So 1 mil, oh wow, you really put me, well.
Or if we know, if district staff knows,
Sure, so. Approximately, well, we have to, based upon a home, right, what home value?
Right, that's what I'm just saying,
Okay.
in Romulus, in Romulus, our average, what is the average cost of 1 million in our?
In your district, I can follow up with that information, but 1 mil on $150,000 house would cost about $150.
Okay, thank you for that, and so we're currently.
Per year, correct.
Per year, and we're currently levying 11.25 between our bonds and our 8.25 and our 3 for sinking fund. So just how much so we're not gonna increase it, we're gonna have to keep it at the 11.25. And how much would that generate and for how long? What is the length that we're looking at?
So I wanna take that question, to Brody's, credit, they just received the information that they needed. We just got our audit yesterday, I think I sent it to you yesterday, was it yesterday?
Couple of days ago.
But I mean, I just sent it to.
Yes, you just.
Yeah, I just sent it, so, the numbers are extremely preliminary.
Sure.
We have so many different options, and you could probably speak more to this than I can, but in my past experience, it depends on how long you levy those mills for, the length of time versus, the renewal process. So it really depends, it sounds like we have some opportunity and some options, we just don't know what those are yet, cause he and PFM are calculating those
Sure.
numbers, so. I don't have the direct answer, but it's really dependent on a couple of different factors.
Okay, do we have a range of what it would generate and for how long, or not even yet?
I need
And
to
that's,
say,
and that's
because I don't
fine,
wanna
I'm
put it,
just
I don't,
asking, right, cause I don't wanna.
what we can say, what I would feel comfortable saying is that our needs assessment excluding busing and technology, I believe that the bond that we would levy would more than cover the needs of it. Now, that's saying that now, I don't know
Sure.
I don't know what that's gonna look like in a year from now with materials and cost and inflation.
Absolutely.
But I would say, if we were to pass it today, our needs assessment, our needs would be met based on what we've seen. And then we'd have probably some money left over to do buses and technology. I think our needs would be met.
And what is the approximate length of time for this bond?
So with any bond issue, there are going to be state statutory limits as to how long you can pay off the asset that's being financed. So when you're doing brick and mortar, which are longer term buildings, you can go out to 30 years. Technology and buses that have a shorter a shorter useful life, you have to amortize those bonds on a shorter time frame. So the state has done a really good job in setting the constraints so that we are not incurring interest costs beyond the useful life of the asset that we're financing. So in the process that we're gonna go through, depending upon which items are added into the, project, that's gonna help determine how we amortize. But as far as the maximum, you can go as 30 years.
30 years, okay.
But you're likely to probably be looking at 25 years based upon our recommendations.
The last one here
25
was
or less.
1999.
Yeah, it was 99.
25 years.
Yeah. And we can stagger,
Correct, you
Right,
can
yeah.
issue the bonds in
Phases.
series.
yes,
Correct.
yeah, and that's likely what we'll have to do, is that accurate?
Yeah.
Or no, I'm asking, is that likely what we're gonna have to do?
It's an option, not, I don't know that I would use the term have to.
Okay,
But it's certainly options that we would wanna spread that out over time in
okay,
different phases or issuances of
cause I know
bond.
like our current bond debt expires at various times, so I okay. And then, one thing that I really wanna touch on is, so if our community passes this, and you know, the needs assessment, and as we apply for bonds, we're gonna have to specifically state what the funds will be used for. The needs assessment list, and thank you for getting it, it's comprehensive and gives us, we have 7 buildings, and we've also been experiencing continually declining enrollment. And when that happens, we just keep, we're hearing, can this district financially sustain operating 7 buildings? So if
I'm
we,
just gonna challenge that because I've been here, I don't continually hear that. I just got up and I said, we've gone from 300 prior to 2020 that we were losing every year and more. The trend looks like it's going the opposite way, not that way. It looks like we're going the opposite way. But I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
so yeah, and I'm
But
not
like-
bashing the district, I'm just
Yeah,
saying
no.
that based on the state aid financial reports that are given monthly and then yearly, looking through that where they have the
Okay, everybody's.
what it's based on, right?
Everybody's-
So Romulus overtime, and everybody, it's not Romulus, it's, there's a decline in enrollment
In
everywhere.
Michigan.
So right, and so that's not a negative, that's a reality. But I'm saying in this district, as that happens, this discussion keeps occurring like, could we save money by not trying to maintain all of our buildings? And that has come up many times, and we've had community pushback, we've had varying opinions. my question is if we do this, and are we committing to keeping all of our buildings open so that no stakeholders feel like, oh, we passed this and now our school closed, right? Are we committing to keeping all of them open and have financial projections been done that support the district's ability, if this bond passes, to incur more cost and debt?
Can I interject really quickly? So definitely appreciate the questions, because I've taken notes, but
That's
I
my
feel
last
like,
question.
no, I was just saying with the future of just not knowing and this still being preliminary, I just feel like that question, can we hold off, because it just still can put out there.
Right.
Because we don't know, we could pass this and something could, because we don't know the future, but just get this answered and then we'll make sure we're prepared with more questions, because this is still the beginning.
Right, so have financial projections been done to like look out and see if our district.
Forecast, that's
and
an easy
the
thing.
forecast, yes, have we done
that's
those,
easy.
and do we see the district's ability to?
So I'll speak to one aspect of your question and I'll respect Madam President. One aspect of this whole PQ application for the state of Michigan is we have to do a birth rate study, which goes back so many years through middle cities. And they'll give us a projection of what that will look like into the future. I can't remember how far back it does go, but we pay for this to be done. And that's part of the PQ application of the state of Michigan. So we'll have a better idea. To answer your question, I don't have that in front of me.
That's fine.
We'll have a better idea once that research is done and that report comes back to us, and I'm happy to share that with the board as well. That's part of what we do. It's hard to forecast 5 years from now or 10 years from now on finances of the district, because we don't know what's gonna happen. But I will say part of this application is doing a birth rate study in the district as well as an enrollment study.
Okay, my last question, this is my last question, is if we're gonna vote on this on May 6th, we need to have all this in place, 12 weeks prior? That takes us to February 11th, and I understand we have to have everything completed by then. My question is there time for us to have our auditor present the report and us have a better understanding of our financial position, and then do this vote a month from now?
I will say
And
no.
have it done by February 11th?
No, we're hitting a timeline now that, should this vote pass tonight, I have to get with the Treasury Department to set a date in December to get this on their calendar for them to review it. So I would say no, there's not enough time for us to do the work, meet with committees, if we put this off to the next board meeting. You could certainly, I mean,
Listen, and I definitely appreciate that, but this is something we've been talking about for a while. And now we're just at the point where I was like, it's time, we're totally at the end of that. So that's what I would say. And if you don't, you don't. Like, if you don't want it to move forward, then you don't move forward in this case. But that's why. And then also just, I don't ever talk about buildings closing, but I always tell a community, and I've told this one too, you don't ever close the building until you know what you're gonna do with it for sure. We have a building in our community, or 2 or 3, that have been shut, they've been an eyesore to the community. One of the things that I wanted in this bond is to demolish. I've said it before, we can't use sinking fund money, that's a struggle. We have Mount Pleasant that's sitting there, it's an eyesore, and probably still lost that community. You know, your community doesn't trust you when you shut a building down and you don't do anything, and then it's crime ridden and hassle. Merriman too, hassle. So before you ever have that, whether I'm sitting in this chair now or whether you're here as board members, the community should demand, if anybody talks about closing, they better have an idea what they're gonna do with that immediately, because it becomes an eyesore and you lose that entire community. They're done with you. So my goal is not to get back the community, but to do the right thing and demolish that building and then figure out what we wanna do with the land. Maybe we can sell it. Maybe we can have a home building program for it. I don't know. So I don't like to talk about that, closing buildings, but I always talk about, if you're gonna close, you better know what you're gonna do with it, because we've seen it here. That's it. Thank you, Trustee Pop. Your question?
I'm good, and thank you for
No, your
letting me to
question,
ask that,
yeah.
because there's the whole financial situation and making, a part of this feels like we're going in blind, and we're not gonna have all the knowings, but, yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you saying that. I don't have to defend. I don't feel like we're going in blind. We have experts here. I know how to do this process now. I think We have other people that know how to do this process. It's part of the process. You have to trust the process. Have to trust the process. Financially, we've seen the audit. We're not in bad, we're in good shape. We're not in bad shape. So I just think, I mean, we could be in dire straits and we're not in dire straits. I believe, again, I'm gonna be the one that's out there in this community. I can tell this community all the good things that we have done. And I already have a letter that's going out to the community. It's from the mayor. 3 times a year, I put it out. I want the community to know all the great stuff, and I need the board to do the same thing. All the great things that are happening here. You can't focus on, well, you know what? That building we closed 8 years ago looks like, that was 8 years ago. Let's talk about the last 2. How about that? Just talk about when I was here. I'll take that. Let's just talk about that. I'm telling you, we're moving in the right direction. We're gonna continue to move in a direction. And if it's me that's serving as your superintendent, we're gonna continue to move in the right direction. And if we get stuck on something, I hope that you believe in the leadership that you have not only at this table, but across from me, that we have the team to figure it out. That's what Tom Design is about.
Thank you for the questions and the dialogue.
Thank you.
It was motion by Webster, supported by Davis. Roll call, please.
Webster, yes. Davis,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Piles,
No.
motion passes.
Thank you, board. We have a action item for the great Jason Perkins. You can sit, Jason, because I'm not telling you what to do. But, can someone read the action item?
Madam President, move that.
Thank you, by the way, to the board. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. We're gonna move ahead with that and help move this district forward. Thank you.
Too fast. Madam President, move that the Board of Education approves a gym floor and repair at Wick Elementary School at a cost to the district of $72,133. Rationale, repair flooring in the Wick Elementary gym due to flooding through cooperative bidding. Budget implications, repair and improvement, sinking fund account, exhibits, flooring proposal.
Support. It's been motion by Davis, second by Kennard. Any discussion?
Is there an insurance claim on this?
So there was an insurance claim due to a flood prior to my arrival, and we did receive some insurance monies, I guess offsetting the cost of what it is now to replace. The money that we received was prior to my arrival, so I tried reaching out with Dr. Gistinger to figure out what that amount was. I also reached out to the insurance company, they didn't get back with me in time for tonight's meeting, but from my understanding, it was $10,000 or $15,000 that we received in insurance money for the repair of the floor, but now we're obviously opting for replacement, but that would kind of offset the cost that you see in front of you tonight. And I also just want to make the board aware that I didn't do a presentation with a PowerPoint with the funds and the available funds and the deduction of the funds and what would be left. And the reason I didn't is because we've been working so diligently in the sinking fund committee with Trustee Kennard and Trustee Ebbets, so thank you to both of you guys. They've been great and instrumental in kind of putting together a plan, a budget that's very comprehensive for the next few years. So that's why you're not seeing it in front of you tonight, that we've kind of been doing that work from behind the scenes. We're also prioritizing safety. That's how the WIC gym floor is kind of at the top of our agenda, because the floor is popping up and kids are tripping and it's a gym floor. This work would be performed over Christmas break, so I wanna let you guys know that too. We didn't wanna wait until summer because it's a safety thing. We think that we can get this work completed over Christmas break, so that's why it's in front of you tonight.
So would that insurance money we received is this the cost after that, or is?
No, this is the total cost.
This is the total cost?
Yes, this is the total cost. The money that we received was prior to my arrival, so I'm assuming it went back into the general fund. This money would be on
Okay.
sinking fund, derived from sinking fund.
And is the cause of the flooding been repaired?
I was prior to me here, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what flooded the gym in the first place.
Can we,
Maybe
could somebody find that out and get them that information before we put it in?
It was the 200-year floods that we had in the So to answer the question, I don't know that can be fixed.
Okay.
The gym floor has been repaired in that section. That's all the insurance company would cover.
Sure.
So, and it's about, I think Mr. Perkins is right, it's about 10 or 15,000 that we received. So it's really robbing Peter, pay Paul at this point to pay for the gym floor. They need a gym floor.
They need it.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
bad.
This is pretty
Davis,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Wester, yes, Piles,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
motion is approved.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, Ms. Burgess. We have a report from the Director of Special Service, Dr. Patrick Meese, with an update.
Good evening, President Laster, distinguished board members, Dr. Benjamin Edmondson, how's everyone doing tonight?
Okay.
Just waiting for this presentation.
So I just wanted to provide you all with a few updates regarding the department. And the first item that I'd like to address is unified sports. So I want you to know that we were, again, approved for the unified grant at Barth, Romulus Middle School, and Romulus High School. Each school is allocated $1,200 for students with disabilities to participate in athletic events with their non-disabled peers. This is a offshoot of the Michigan Special Olympics, so they are affiliated. And again, the idea here is to build a sense of community. Last year, we did several bowling events. This year, we purchased bocce ball sets. Students in the LIFT program engaged in some bocce ball on one of these nice fall days that we had. And the parapro Kathy Smith shared some pictures, and that was fantastic to see. In addition to that, we are also revisiting bowling. In the works is setting up additional opportunities for students to bowl, again, with their gen ed peers. And we're also looking for opportunities for the winter. But before we do that, we have to determine student interest. So if students want to play basketball, then we're going to figure out opportunities for them to play basketball. If basketball is not the thing, we're going to figure out what it is that they want to do. So more to come on that. You have before you an action item, a motion sheet to appoint another PAC representative. I'm thrilled to bring that before you. So we have an existing PAC member, Tamisha Bland represents the Romulus Community School District at the Wayne Risa Parent Advisory Committee meetings. She's doing a wonderful job. We identified another parent with a similar interest who wants to do it in addition to Mrs. Bland. So should Mrs. Bland not be able to attend, we have a backup. So we went from not having anybody to now having two, which is somewhat rare across Wayne County. So I'm thrilled to bring that before you. I work with Miss Amanda Corley on a few issues involving her child, and I can tell you what, both parents, Mrs. Bland and Mrs. Corley, have a natural skill set where they're able to advocate, to do so respectfully, and to do whatever's necessary for their child. And I'm confident that they'll bring those same principles with them when they participate at the PAC meetings to represent our school district. Another initiative that I want to bring to your attention, and I want to thank Ms. Kim Caesar for spearheading this. This is our effort to provide students with additional support. This is called the SOS initiative, supporting our students with speech, occupational therapy, and social work. So we have students who have been identified by their physicians as having some type of deficit or disability of some sort, but they're very young, and it's been determined that they need some support, but perhaps it's been determined that they don't need enough to go to an early on program or some type of intense program, but the needs remain. So what we are going to provide students is an opportunity to come to Barth for 2 hours a week, and this is for the rest of the school year, where they can interact with a speech provider, social worker, and occupational therapist to address those needs, with the overarching goal being perhaps this early intervention can prevent a child from having to be in a more restrictive preschool setting. So we are not the first district to do this. Kim Caesar was in communication with our neighbors in Woodhaven, and Kim, thank you so much for your efforts with this. I know Gina Infantino, Jenna Suzio, and Naquan Arnold were also instrumental throughout this process. So this is something that we've done in the past. We've been providing students with, let's say, speech therapy, but now what we're going to do is make it more of a one-stop shop to address the needs of these little ones. Couple other items. Some people may not know that within the Special Services Department, we have our English Learner Program. So Mr. Mark Walewski is our coordinator of the English Learner Program. And currently, he is supporting 48 students across the school district. I thought it would be important for you to know which languages our students are speaking. So we have approximately 20 students whose primary language at home is Spanish. We have 6 students whose primary language is Arabic, 6 French, 4 Haitian Creole, 4 Yoruba. I know Mr. Brock knows this, but not everybody knows that that is a southwestern and central Nigerian dialect. Also Igbo, another Nigerian dialect, and Romania, 3 students, and 5 from other Afro-Asiatic regions. So I thought it'd be important for you to know that we have a lot of languages represented here in Romulus Community Schools, and we are addressing their English learning needs through the efforts of Mr. Walewski. He's working with teachers, providing them with strategies to help these students learn English so that they can master their content. Couple other items. Couple additional quick items. Our department oversees McKinney-Vento and foster care services that falls under our umbrella. So again, I'd like to thank Kim Caesar and our administrative assistant, Mary Randazzo. It's not unusual for Mary to tell me that an email came in late last night and she made a few phone calls and was able to secure housing in a crisis for a family. So we are doing some wonderful things to help families who are in need. So I want to thank the board for allowing us to do that good work. I've mentioned to you before that we have a program called Securely. I just want to let you know that we continue to monitor student activity online when they're emailing each other, sending each other messages, or having some type of electronic communication signaling grief or some type of weapon conversation or anything of concern. We are on it. It's hard to say what would have happened if we haven't used this service, but I can tell you that students' needs are being met by school social workers, building administrators, school psychologists, etc., because of that program. So those are my updates. Again, thank you for allowing me time to stand before you and provide you with an update of the Special Services Department. The work we do is difficult, but it's a pleasure, and I'm honored to do it for the students of our school district. Any questions?
No questions?
What I sent to you.
Oh. Okay. What children are eligible to receive services at BART or current GSRP? All children within age groups in the community? We'll start with what children are eligible to receive services at BART or the current GSRP?
Is it just the GSRP students, or is it open to all children?
Are we talking about the SOS? Are we talking
No,
about
I'm talking about the 2 days a week at BART.
2 hours a week?
I mean, yeah, the 2 hours a week.
That would be students who are preschool age,
Okay.
2 to 5 across the district.
Okay.
Across the district.
Okay.
It happens to be housed, this year it'll be housed at BART. We're in communication with Leela about the following year securing a spot at RECC.
And how will families be made aware that this opportunity is available?
Well, we have a child find obligation and we are in communication. We have parents call us that, they get this information from their physician. The doctor will say, in Michigan, you're eligible for services birth to 26, and we get those phone calls all the time.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Bees.
All right, thank you all so much.
Madam President, recommended motion for the Parent Advisory Committee for Wayne County. Move that the Board of Education approves Ms. Corley in addition to Ms. Bland, to sit on the Parent Advisory Committee for Wayne County Rationale Parent Advisory Committee. And budget implications is none.
Support. And motion by Wester, supported by Kennard. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Wester, yes. Kennard.
Yes.
Kyle.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Laster.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you, and welcome to Ms. Corley for joining the team. All right, we are at the report of the board subcommittees. Any updates?
Yes, Madam President and Board. So the Sick and Fund Committee did meet, but Jason did mention some of the things that we've been working on. So we are still, and so one of them was with the action item that was brought forward. We're still meeting and prioritizing our plans, and with that will come the financial assessment, but once we get all that together, we'll be able to bring it back to the board.
Thank you.
And the Finance Committee did not meet.
Thank you for the update. We are now at the report of the board president. Oh, did you, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Madam President, Policy Committee did meet last Monday
Yes.
with, I believe his name was Craig. He's a rep for Neola. Yeah, he's a rep for Neola, who's a policy service company. They serve plenty of school districts in Michigan and especially in southeast Michigan. And right now we're looking at options to sort of update our current policy and looking at other options to move over to. And I believe within the next couple of board meetings, Craig will be coming back to the full board to give everybody a presentation.
Okay, just, I know there's been talks, like we have the policy kind of sitting in the waiting room that was revised, that I know is the retention, because we don't have a updated policy right now on the website. And there was something that was sent over by McCarthy that they worked on, so I don't know if we can look to get at least that portion brought back so we can put it up there, so we figure out if we're gonna go with Neola or whatever is in the next coming, but at least to try to get an updated policy on that website.
Madam President, now, I'm not sure, but I believe before I came to the board, we were under NOAA. We were under NOAA, is that correct?
Neola, yes.
And yeah, and so we moved from that.
Yes, because Neola covers everything, but it is like a lot of policy and a lot of reading through, so it's hard to identify and refer to. So the board had worked with Lusk Albertson at that time, that's now Miller Johnson, to go through all of our Neola policy and rewrite, so we had customized policy that was what RCS did, because Neola's policy just is blanket for everybody. So we did have Neola, then we went to a RCS focused policy.
Mr. Brock, can you give us a little bit, because we did kind of discuss that on Monday, because it was brought out, because that was prior to me, that there was Neola, and then we switched over about it, so Mr. Brock was able to talk with Greg about it, as well as us to kind of like get where we are, so we can kind of move forward and how they kind of condense some things as well.
So the one thing that we did talk about in policy was no matter what this board decides to do, I believe at the next board meeting, the policy that we did revise needs to come before this board and have it either approved or not approved. But we need to update our current policies. There is a current Title IX policy that's out there that we have not yet adopted, and it's a legal update that should be on our website, and it's not. I know that I went through with a community member and we redlined the old policy with the new legal updates, and that needs to come before you, no matter what the board decides to do, if it's Neola or we stay with Miller Johnson. I'll say from a human resources perspective, yes, Neola is arduous, Neola is a lot, but Neola is very prescriptive. Neola is very good for somebody like me that does business in the HR world, and I will say, it's a language that's commonly spoken. You can still do your own policies within Neola. Your committee can write whatever policies they want, and they run it through their legal counsel, and you can adopt those policies. So really, that process really would not change whether it's Miller Johnson or Neola or Troon or whomever. but Neola is very comprehensive. I didn't think, and I've owned this, this is my humility. When I was living in Neola in a past life, I didn't care for it. It's a lot. The policy is a lot. Now that I don't live in Neola, it's much more difficult to not live in Neola. Miller Johnson for me is a little too vague. And it's done that way for a purpose. It's flexible and I get it, but I think for a school district, I would prefer it be Neola, but that's the board's pleasure. But either way, I believe that those updates need to come before you at the next board meeting for a vote so that we can renew that and put that on the website.
Thank you. So yeah, that was my only, and we can just get that and then we can roll, like I support what you guys are doing. I know everybody's busy, but if we can just, so we can have updated policy on the website. So we're not opening ourselves to anything. So that's just my ask. Any other subcommittee questions or updates? Okay, thank you. I will be quick. I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank Miss Holly Smith for her passion. She had me tearing up. I didn't even want to go speak because just, that's what you need. And those are the teachers and the staff that students will remember 20 years later because you can tell that she cares. I want to shout out the Romulus Flyers. I just found out today that they have made it to the playoffs. Our JV team, they were 6-0 undefeated under the coaching of Rashad Glenn, so I want to shout him out. And Coach Cersei, their 10th playoff appearance as a community as Romulus Eagles, and since '94, I think I have that right. They will be playing against Lincoln King at 7 p.m. on Saturday at the U of D Mercy. I know you will get information out for us to support. So congratulations to all of our teams. Of course, we do want to support. We need to know these things as well, but we try to get where we can. I do know there's a lot of board members that do go to things. You may not see us, but we are there. I want to thank Mr. Tonchin and his students for coming to talk and present. I want to thank the Sinking Fund Subcommittee and Mr. Perkins because that just shows how it flows. If it's like he didn't have to bring up something because it's the backing of, hey, they're relaying the message, we got it, and we just go. So that's kind of what I would want to see or my goal for the subcommittee. So I appreciate all the hard work there. There is a academic achievement recognition tomorrow at the Media Center at Romulus High School for, I don't know if it's just seniors or all grades. Okay, either or, come support if you can, 9 a.m. at the Media Center. We'll see a new Media Center, another upgraded Media Center in the morning. And I just want to leave with this. I enjoyed the ALC conference. I'm glad that I didn't listen to, don't take classes. Be scared to take classes. Sometimes don't always listen to the noise because do the right thing. I was very impressed with the knowledge, the notes that I took, and the people that I met. And so sometimes you can go away from your board and see, wow, we okay. We might have some things, but we're okay. And I was glad to say people were like, oh, Romulus. Oh, but our story is different now. So yeah, we have a past, but the story is different. So it was good to make connections there. So thank you for allowing us to go to classes and making sure everything was set up so we could have a seamless time there. I enjoyed the time with the board members. I know it may seem like, ooh, they're getting together and all of this in a bond. This is actually some real stuff. I got text messages to prove. I had board members saying, I'm only coming to meetings. I'm not doing none of that stuff because I wanted to have a break bread meeting with just let's come together and try something different. No, couldn't get it together. But God works it out right there. That's really proof. So I just want to say that, and I want to thank my board members, and never judge a book by its cover. I know we're in the library, and that's for humans. Seriously, don't look at the students. You would never thought that little girl just was so eloquent with how she spoke. Like, yeah, we have great students here. Don't think Romulus is ghetto and we don't have stuff going on. We have students that are amazing. We have parents that are amazing. We have staff that is amazing. So that's what I want to leave you with today. Never judge a book by its cover. No pun intended that we're in the library, but just try to do better. Be kind. Thank you. For my board president report, I just wanted to be brief because I know we have some other stuff coming up. Communications from board members, we will start with Trustee Kennard.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Madam Secretary.
Just to thank everyone for coming out and just to piggyback off you, we had an awesome time at MASB. It's probably the best one I've been to yet. I enjoyed all the classes we went to. And being surprised by our superintendent and being able to learn with him and go through classes and see that we are on the right track. Especially when you look at the attendance, it's like, we're doing that already, you know, and people were so wild about what was going on, but just to know that we are doing the right thing and starting to hear the positive things that other districts are saying about us when they see us up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Davis.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I got is election day is coming up. I know everybody is tired of all them political ads. I know I am. Every time I'm on YouTube, political ad. Oh my God. But everybody has a right to vote. Everybody has a right to vote. Make sure you use your right. Google is free. Social media is out there. Go on the internet, look at all the candidates. National level, state level, local level. All of the candidates matter. Do your own research, contact those people, and make a decision for you and your community. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice President Davis and Trustee Powers.
Thank you. Mr. Brock, I want to thank you again for all of the work on the insurance, really. That is a lot of work when you get a major increase like that. So thank you for your willingness to not just worry about the district and yeah, we got the hard cap, but really caring about our staff and going that extra mile. That is truly appreciated. So thank you. The pastors who came and spoke, it's good to have people investing in our students and families and meeting people where they are, wrapping around and meeting needs. Because those unmet needs are often barriers to education, and while we focus on equity, I'm glad that we have partners that come forward and do that. So I do hope that we can, if there's assistance needed with filling out those building forms, and again, this is not a something that is being charged for, so they're not charging for their services, so this is something that the district is able to offer our space free of charge to them, so I just wanna.
You gotta watch that.
Well, I'm saying, I said, well,
Don't get into
okay, well,
weeds
let's,
there.
okay, but, well, if unless our policy has changed, that if there's something being, and I'll stop there, but I'm saying, whatever we do, let's make sure we do it consistently, and that, okay, I'll leave that there, but thank you to the people that are willing to come help us in the journey to meet the needs of students and families. I do have a question, maybe you can get back with us. We are hearing about the security ambassadors being different and students not having those that they had relationships with. My question is, I know that we were told that the new company was keeping the staff. So my question for you, President Laster, is did we lose the staff and do we lose our ambassadors and need to hire new, and that's why our students don't have those relationships, or what is the reason for that? And then NWEA data, we had a wonderful presentation at the last meeting, and I know Dr. Gardner had pointed out that data is analyzed to look at student progress, but also look at teacher effectiveness or lack of it. So I had asked if, based on that analyzing data, if any teachers had been identified for improvement based on that, and we were going to get that information. We don't yet, so if we could follow through, get that. And then lastly, this last weekend was phenomenal. MASB Annual Leadership Conference always is, but as Secretary Wester said, this was on a different level. And Dr. Edmondson, thank you for coming along. Thank you, board members. This was the first time we've had so many people from our district, and I appreciated that. And Dr. Edmondson, thank you for your efforts and your commitment for us to work on repairing damage and the impact that that will have.
You're welcome. Thank you. Couple of things for me. Yeah, I'm last.
Didn't call you though.
Oh.
Didn't say hey. And last, the main character, Dr. Edmondson.
Character.
Dr. Edmondson.
Abuse.
You get paid well.
top 2%, right, Debbie?
Get that on the shirt.
2%. I
Couple
told
of
you I
things.
made that up.
I shared with the community and I will share with you. I'm in that building at the high school Thursdays and Fridays. I'm aghast when people say, oh, the new ambassadors aren't, are you kidding me? I'm there. I see it, okay? Sometimes you need a change. No disrespect to everybody else. They have a right. Nobody got fired. They left. They want to leave. That's their choice, okay? I've been very pleased. I can tell you that there was an ambassador that went across the street when there was a grandmother fighting with a student at McDonald's. The ambassador was there. You have to allow people to build a relationship. And we have to tell kids, relationships, they're not phony. You don't just get them as soon as somebody's there, oh, now we're cool. It takes time. And they deserve the time, and I'm there to see it. What I see, they're doing their job, what I see. But I also said to them, you don't ever want, I said to them and our current one, you don't want kids to say, you snitched on me to an ambassador, because that tells me you're too close. You are too close for a student to ever say, you snitched on me. They forget what your job is. Have you? You can't forget. This is the line. You must draw it with kids, okay? I'm not worried if they don't like me, okay? They're gonna respect me. I take time to sit down with kids. I sit down with the ambassadors over there at the high school. I haven't been at the middle school. I feel pretty comfortable at the middle school, okay? It's pretty consistent there. But what I see at the high school, I'm just amazed when people say, oh, the kids aren't. I'm there too. I see plenty of kids engaged, and I tell you, I'm very pleased with the ambassadors there. I don't have any skin in the game with LaGuardia. I have no skin in the game, period. But I know what I need to see as the superintendent. When I'm walking through buildings, they're always engaged. We do hall sweeps. They do hall sweeps. It's consistent. We meet with them. What we were missing was consistency. That's what we're missing. Now, I know that everybody's not gonna tell the truth, okay? I'm going to. We were missing consistency. Now that'll let me move on to the next thing. One thing I never did like about church, I love church. I didn't like when people came for Easter, and they came for the holidays, and I was there every day. They come for holidays, taking up seats and things like that. I say that for one particular reason. Our board needs to visit our cabinet and directors. This is not the time to always ask your questions. We're here every single day. If you're so passionate about the stuff, come and see us. Why don't we have anybody come see us? We're here every day. Patrick is here every day. Him, Jenna, Jason, all of us, we're here every day. It can't be that we're on display here at a board meeting. Now you want to ask me 1,000 questions. The people are here, ask them. We're here, we have extended that over and over and over, okay? And I don't want us to keep saying it, but I've said it before. If you're so passionate about this, which I believe you are, come and talk to us. Give us that chance. Give us that professionalism that we deserve. Can't always be on display here and then it's a gotcha. When you said no surprises, what does that mean? No surprise. Ask us a question, come and see us. Listen, that building takes on my persona and my personality. I can promise you that. When you walk into the central office, it takes that on. Come and visit us. Ask us any questions. There's nothing that you can't ask. You're gonna get an honest answer. You may not like it, maybe we need to work on how that messaging looks. But please, that's not the place, just here. This isn't just come and see us. Just like in church, that's what they say. Come see your pastor. Know who your pastor is. And you just don't come on the holidays. Come and see who we are. Next, I'm so glad that Trustee Davis didn't say this. There was a band concert that I went to that I was very pleased at the band concert.
Definitely the
I
vice
was there.
president.
Did I call him president?
Trustee.
Oh, vice president, my bad, vice president. Okay,
That's
it was
that
a good
55.
event, it's a long event, it's good. We're getting in the right direction. There's a couple things that I'd like to see. I talked to the vice president just about that and his opinion too. There's some things that I'd like to see with the program, but it's growing. I can tell you that. Our band program is growing. So kudos to Jesse Reyes and Savannah Radke and the band boosters. So just wanted to say that. Lastly, appreciate my team. Also to the board and the community, I'm gonna say it. The state is looking at a cell phone legislation that they're gonna put, mandate, okay? We wanna jump ahead of that because we wanna jump ahead of that. It's coming. I'm not here to pretend with kids and, oh, you can do, I know we're not doing all that. The research is very clear on what cell phones is doing to our kids. Are we gonna sit there and say, well, we want them to have, this is not a safety issue. I promise you, kids will be safe, I promise you. This is an instructional issue and making certain that what the teachers are teaching is the focus, not what's happening on that cell phone and who's fighting and who's videotaping, all that nonsense. So we're working on something at the high school as a practice, but I will come to the board, I'll keep you informed. It's just a practice right now. When it's ready to go to the cell phone, or when it's ready to go to the policy committee, we'll get it there truly for your input. You're more than welcome to give me your opinions on it, but whatever you think about any of that, be willing to do it. But I'm in the kid business, okay, I'm not in the cell phone business, and I see it every classroom. I have teachers say, oh, kids don't use it in my class, go visit and see. They use it in every class at the high school, every class. It's gotta stop, instruction has to be the focus. That's it, thank you, everybody, for coming on out, I love working for this district, thank you.
You know they're gonna flip you said I don't like church.
But that's all right, my pastor say I miss you.
Motion to go into
Great
closed
event.
session. Support.
Let's wrap it.
You read the one.
Yeah.
Organized church, though.
There is no motion. So move the motion that the Board of Education goes into closed session to discuss 8C collective bargaining strategy at 8:20 p.m.
Support. Is there a support?
Support.
Then motion by Kennard, supported by Piles.
No, it was Western.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Western Kennard.
Motion by Western, supported by Kennard, cause she,
See how it goes, get up there.
Roll call. Western, yes. Kennard? Yes. Piles?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Laster?
yes.
8:20.
Give somebody that goat status,